Hi everyone, welcome to Clutch Entertainment today, and today we're going to be talking about the many jobs that I've worked in the past from my own experience and some experiences with them, maybe some stories, just describing how the jobs were, and I'll give a number rating between 1 and 10, what I thought about the job and if I would recommend working there. And I have a total of I believe about 15 different jobs that I've worked in the past, including the job I have now. So over time, I've had a lot of various experiences with different positions, different roles, and I got a variety of experiences going all the way up to college and out of college. So let's get right into it. So my first job ever was at a McDonald's, and when I grew up, I got my first job at McDonald's because my dad knew somebody through a bank or something, and said, "Hey, you want to work at McDonald's?" And I said, "Okay, I'll apply for it." So I applied for McDonald's. And when I started working there, I started doing the cash register and such like that. There was a few things that were kind of over the top, but so as far as working there overall, I thought it was a okay first job. It was, in the end, it looked like it wasn't something that I really wanted to do for a long term. But I went to the job and I thought, oh, this is okay, I guess. And being a first job, I really didn't care about it too much, I don't think. I didn't put a lot of pride into it. I was just trying to just get a job and work, mainly. And so I did the cash register. I did back booth, which was taking the headset and stuff like that. And also I ended up working in the drive-through window a few times, but not too much. But I would do running too. But overall, I would say working McDonald's was a 6 out of 10. It was very busy a lot of the times, and it contributed to a lot of different emotions, that's for sure. Two stories real quick with it. I had this one time where this guy came in for a big Big and Tasty, when they used to have Big and Tasties, and he's like, "I like a Big and Tasty with lots and lots of mayo." And I was like, okay. So I got him the mayonnaise on the burger, and he wanted lots and lots of mayonnaise. And so I said, "Okay, here's your burger, sir." And I gave him his burger. He comes back up to the counter, and he goes, "I didn't want mayo." I said, "Sir, you said you said lots and lots of mayo." And he goes, "I didn't want mayo." So we ended up making him a new burger. And then 5 minutes later, he comes back up again, and he's like, "I wanted mayo on my sandwich." And he actually did this 2 or 3 times. And my manager was like, "This is not right." And eventually we denied him at service, and he had to leave. There was this other time, but that was my overall first job at McDonald's, and it was pretty crazy overall. So, like I said, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. My second job was not so eventful like that. It was at a public library. I worked for a summer at my library, and I did shelving books and putting movies back on the shelves, and just pretty much walking around keeping the library in good shape. So whatever they told me that they need me to do, I'd do, and I'd just walk around doing different things, shelving books and making sure everything was all cleaned up. So my third job was actually at a health department, and I did filing stuff on the computers. I'd file stuff in the file folders for the people in the health department, and I would be able to go to different events and just experience what a health department went through with stuff. I would say, as far as the library, the last one I was talking about, I would give that one a 7 out of 10, just because it was tedious work. But as far as the health department, I would probably give that about a 7 out of 10 too, because it was also kind of filing stuff and data entry on the computer. It was a lot of repetitive work stuff, but both those jobs were both summers, so they were okay. And then the next job I had was at Little Ceasars. It was a pizza place. And I'm sure some of you know about it, and some of you may not have it around you, but Little Ceasars is, they used to have $5 pizzas. Now they're I think $6.99 or $7, something like that. But they're just a place where I just worked there first summer, and I got to learn how to make pizzas. So there wasn't any crazy stories there either. Just mostly like the way they made the dough. You'd have to actually use your bare hands, and you'd put in the dough and make the Little Caesars pizza. But I'm sure it's different now, but then it was use your bare hands. You had to wash your hands and then put your bare hands in the pizza. So like it's kind of gross if you think about it, like people buying pizzas and people use their bare hands. But I don't think it's like that anymore. I have seen people using gloves in there, but yeah, it's a lot different, and I thought it was interesting to say the least. And I would say it was like about another 6 out of 10 job. It wasn't super great. My next job was at a cave. I did packaging materials and like water bottles, like some of those backpack water bottles, the thin ones that like they're not really like plastic bottles, but they're more like a tube, kind of like a tube, like a toothpaste tube. But we would package all kinds of different ones, and we'd put like carabiners, the things that clip on, and we'd clip them on those tubes, and we'd ship them off to different stores like Walmart, Target, whoever stores carry it. And it was interesting. It was just very repetitive, and it was another one of those jobs that I'd probably give a 6 out of 10. So the next job that I had was a Walgreens. And when I worked at Walgreens, I worked the cash register and worked like around the store stocking stuff. And I also did a little bit of going in the photo area. But for the most part, it wasn't that great of a job. It was always busy. There was always people coming in. And especially when you had to work like Thanksgiving, that's what I had to work. And that was the worst. Like I had to work Thanksgiving during the day, and we were the only place open. So everyone would come in there. And when people got in line, it's just, this still happens to everyone today, but when people gets in line, the next person gets in line, the next person gets in line, the next person gets in line. It was crazy. I had to sell cigarettes. I had to sell all kinds of like food in there and drugs and whatever people needed. I pretty much sold to them at the cash register, answered questions. It was very repetitive also, and I would say that one was like a 7 out of 10. Like I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I just did it because it was more money. It was a pay bump, and so I ended up going to college, and then they didn't give me my job back when I went to college. So that was one of those jobs where I just lost my job because they didn't want to hire someone in college. So the next job that I had was at a Hardees. And so that one was pretty interesting. I worked there for about 6 or 7 months, and I did like early mornings too, like getting up at 5 a.m. and working there. And breakfast was crazy at Hardees. It was so many people coming in, so many people buying like breakfast and biscuits and gravy, and just, overall just really spending time in there just trying to get all kinds of food. And like it was a crazy environment. But by the time it got to like afternoon or evening, it was like completely dead. So like I used to think when I was younger that like Hardees was like more of like they had a thick burger and that's what they were known for. But like it really, like their breakfast, their biscuits and gravy and all that stuff, like people love that stuff. Like people will go for that kind of thing. And it's really interesting to see how many people just flocked in like at 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning just to buy food. I got one story on this, but basically some like a woman and then a guy, and then like there was just a few people that would just come in and they would bring these coupons and they would scratch out the expiration date like I'd be stupid or something, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's not expired. Here's your coupon." And I was like, "You scratched it out." Like, "Oh, I didn't realize that." And then like I had to get the manager, and the manager said, "No, we don't take these coupons." And they were just like all really angry and upset because they can't use their little coupon. And that was really dumb. But like overall, like that was probably a job I'd probably give I'd give it another 6 out of 10. It wasn't super great. The next job I worked at was a Line's Choice. And Lion's Choice was a really good job for me. My brother worked there at the time, and it was just like it's a different pace of fast food. It's not as crazy as McDonald's or Hardees. It's a local restaurant in St. Louis. They sell roast beef and all kinds of others, like small things like roast beef, fries, turkey, ham. They sell hot dogs. Like it's a pretty good place overall. And then also, like when I worked there, there was this guy who came in one time, asked, "Can I get a large cup of water for free?" And I said, "Sir, it costs 25 cents for that because that's what my boss told us that we need to sell it for if we want to sell that," which was the manager. And he goes, "Oh, I'm friends with the general manager, and they give it to me for free." And so I said, "Okay, let me ask my manager on duty." And I asked my manager on duty, and he said, "No, you have to pay the 25 cents." And he goes, "I know the general manager. I'm good friends." I said, and then he goes, "Well, you shouldn't. Well, you have to pay the 25 cents, you know." So he just got so angry, and he slams a quarter on the counter, and he goes and takes his cup over there, and he fills it up with soda. And we just all shake our heads like, oh my gosh. We let him go, but he was just a hothead, and he felt entitled that he should get his 25-cent water for free. So overall, we didn't like make a huge stink of it because, I mean, there's no point in getting in a fight with a customer or something, but he just was out of line for that. But overall, Lion's Choice, working there, I would say it was about an 8 out of 10. My next job was working at my high school. I did IT for a summer. I did maintenance. The maintenance, I would say it was more like a 7 out of 10. And IT stuff actually gave me a lot of experience for what I do now. We used to go to different schools, and we used to like wire stuff. We used to install antivirus software. We would move computers. It was a lot of technology stuff, and it really developed me into, you know, learning about a bunch of the basics of IT and how to use certain systems and such. And they had a mini help desk there too. I didn't do too much of that, but it was a good job overall, and I learned a lot. And I would give that job an 8 out of 10. It was a really good job, and it was really nice to have that. And then my job that I was in college, like the work and learn I had, it helped pay for school. It was doing dishes every day, so it wasn't too fun. And then I also that was like probably a 4 out of 10. It was horrible. And then also I ended up doing desk sitting. I would say that was like an 8 out of 10 because I met a lot of people and was able to talk to people as they came into the dorms. And basically all I did with that was like check people in. It wasn't too terrible. And then after I got out of college, I worked at my church, my parish, doing IT and some of the marketing stuff for the website. I also did that at another church, St. Joe. It was another Catholic church. And then after that, I worked at St. Raphael. It was another Catholic church, and I did the same kind of thing. And I would help different priests with technology and different people with technology. And it was a good experience. But the only problem I had out of all three churches, and I'd say like overall those kind of jobs was like an 8 out of 10 because, you know, you got to meet a lot of people that came in, and it was a pretty good environment for the most part. But the one church, the priest that was like the pastor, the guy in charge, was he kind of put me on tedious work that wasn't like part of the job description at St. Raphael, for example. And it just like turned me off to the position, and I just didn't really like enjoy my time there because he kind of made me feel like, you know, like I'm a dumbass kind of thing. So I just didn't feel like that was right on his part. And overall, like I had a little bit of anxiety coming out of that job. So I'm not holding that against anybody now. Like, I mean, I experienced a job. It was all good. But I would say like out of the three churches I worked at, that one was not the one that I wanted to work at overall. But I had the most responsibility there. And then after that, I worked at like Ligouri Publications. It was like a graphic design job, which was pretty cool. Like I I got to learn about using like Mac computers and using. I did some Illustrator and Photoshop stuff in college, but it was pretty cool using that in like a work setting and editing books and stuff like that and publications. And I would say that one, I would say it was probably about an 8 out of 10. It was a pretty good position. It paid decent. And then I worked at a GNC, like a health store. I think they are out of business now. I think they went bankrupt. But I did that for about 6 months or so. And I did that off and on because I was bouncing between jobs at the time. And they sold like a bunch of different stuff. But like when nobody came in, it wasn't super busy. It was a good job for me. I enjoyed working at a healthy store. And like it was pretty nice, like, you know, taking my time with customers, and it wasn't a super crowded store, so it was a really good experience for me. And then now at the last job, and it's at Edward Jones. But before I do that, GNC, the job before, I would probably give that one like an 8 out of 10. It was pretty decent. And my most recent job is Edward Jones, and I do IT help desk there still. And like I said, the Fox High School one prepared me for this. But I would say Edward Jones is like maybe like an 8 or 9 out of 10. And you can check out my other video, IT stories, for all my stories at Edward Jones. But yeah, it's a really good place to work, and I've been there 5.5 years. That's the longest tenured job I've had. All my other positions and jobs were a year or less, and I named like all those different positions. Those were all in a period of about probably about 10 years. Yeah, overall about 10 years of jobs, maybe like 15 jobs in 10 years. So I had a lot of jobs over time, but I had a lot of experience, which was really nice. But overall, thank you for watching Clutch Entertainment today, and I appreciate you checking my show. And if you have any questions or have any crazy jobs that you ever experienced, like, or any stories, just put them in the comment section below, and like and subscribe. And I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you very much. Have a great day.